I had this team of doctors like standing over me, and they just looked at me and they said, you know, you have 72 hours to live. There's an infection running through your body that we're not going to be able to like flush out. You know, I've had a lot of peaks and a lot of pits in my life. I've had a lot of really good times. I've had a lot of really, really, really bad times. And for most of those times, I've chosen to do that alone. And I just want you to know that I don't want to do anything else alone for the rest of my life.
Many of you in this room are surprised that Raph may be standing here today. Raph, less than 5 years ago, was addicted to heroin.
He hops out, comes up to my window, I hand the 20, hands me a little foil wrapper, puts it in my hand. I pull into the apartment complex and like I opened it. And it was like 2 ibuprofen. And I was like, I just was so sad and so mad and like so scared, all in like one moment.
To my surprise, on that first date, I knew that you were going to be my husband. And I remember that moment I had that realization. It was when you were sharing your favorite psalm with me, Psalm 40. You talked to me about how God had saved you from the pit of destruction.
Really cool aspect about you, man, is how you trust God despite the circumstances. So Raph, about a year ago, he had probably from 6-7 years ago these pending legal charges from another state. And you know, he one day came up to me and he's like, dude, I'm gonna go take care of this. It's down in Florida. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't want to get a collect call from a Franklin or a county jail in Florida. But he's like, no, God's going to take care of this. So we went down there and
it was a new judge who had just started it was like 7 or 8 days prior to like this court date. So she basically gave me a few minutes to explain and to tell what led me here. And I, you know, went into pretty good detail about why I left, the fact that I was using, that I continued to use, that I was scared, and talked about the different rehabs in Ohio when I went back, and then got to tell her about going to my last rehab and getting an introduction into the God of the Bible, and a few months after that, like getting to this point where I started a relationship with Christ and got to kind of unpack and explain to her at this point in time like how he's changed my life and how he's redeemed me and giving me these awesome things that are a part of my life now. It's like I have a really awesome girlfriend. I have this really, really good job. And it would just really be devastating to have to kind of continue without dealing with these things. And so that's why I wanted to come. And she was just so taken back by it and just so surprised. She's also like, I've never seen this. I don't know, you know, I've never seen this happen where someone actually deals with it, you know? And it was just like without question, without consulting like this team of prosecutors that are supposed to support her, she just like decided that she was going to discharge me from the drug court program, which would mean I'd have to go to the criminal one downtown the next day and face up to the total of the charges of all the felonies. But she said like, I'm going to personally write a letter to the judge, and I'm going to request that he not only removes this warrant without any and just do a time served removal, but I also am going to request that he would remove all the charges from your record completely, and that he would just remove not only the charges, but completely clean my record free of any sort of contact with felony, that it would just all be wiped away. The next morning I left that courthouse freed from all warrants, freed from all felony charges associated to my name, and free to pursue like the things that I wanted to for so long.
And likewise, Elle is no stranger to difficulties. She herself has dealt with many difficult situations, including, at times, a crippling eating disorder.
This past year has been crazy. And when I was afraid it was going to be too much for you, Raph, you chose to stay and endure with me. You chose to endure those pits with me. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You were able to hope for me because you saw God as God saw me. Or you saw me as God saw me. You took a disposition of sacrifice for me. Despite how hard it was, you poured out yourself for me every day. And you even laid aside your own desires and dreams for me. In that moment when he saved you, I realized that he had a bigger story that he wanted to write. When he saved you from the pit, he didn't just save you, but he saved a lot of other people. And he blessed a lot of other people.
Psalm 40, I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me, he heard my cries. He lifted me up out of the slimy pit, out of the muck and the mire, and he set my feet on a rock, and he gave me a firm place to stand. And then he says, through that, he put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to the Lord. And because of that, many will fear and see the Lord for who he is. And so it's this really cool picture of God entering into this concept of a slimy pit or this muck and mire that we ourselves put ourselves in. And so there's just so much in that God chooses to enter into us despite the circumstances, which is so different from what we know in day-to-day life. As we see people further themselves into some sort of pain pit, this muck, this mire, it's the natural tendency is not to move towards that, but to run away from that.
We were concerned about his health. So on Valentine's Day 2019, I got a text. He texted and was like, "Can you come home?" And I think I knew that something was bad, something was wrong. I actually called him and I was just like, "Do you have cancer?" And he was like, "No, I have something like cancer. It's called ALS."
One of my fondest memories is reading TV shows, then talk about the girl's drama in her life, and then singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie." We sing that every night.
Yeah, it's surreal. You're you just don't think. I mean, you grow up just thinking your dad's gonna last forever, and you're gonna have kids, and your parents will babysit your kids for you, and you have 3 to 5 years.
Me and the people I love have a relationship with Christ. We have that hope of the resurrection and eternal life.
But I'm really thankful that he will get to walk me down the aisle in his wheelchair, and that he will be there for one of the biggest moments of my life.
So this is a speech that my dad has prepared. Although it is overwhelming to give your daughter away, it is so satisfying to know that she is marrying one of the greatest men I've ever met. Ellie, I could not be happier for my little girl. I have watched you blossom into such a beautiful, loving young lady. Raph, I'm confident that you will take care of my daughter. You have such an inspiring story, and I love your passion to know the Lord more and to serve Him. I've enjoyed our spiritual conversations, sharing books and podcasts. I just need to convert you into a Browns fan. Thank you for treating my daughter like gold. I know in my heart that you will be a perfect match regardless of what happens later in life.
Raph. It's been a wild ride these past 2 years, and you've been such a champ through all of it. I've seen you time and time again put Ellie first and love her sacrificially, and I just couldn't think of a better man to marry my best friend. And I have thanked God so many times that I don't know why I'm crying. That God put you in Ellie's life, and what a blessing that's been.
You guys have both sacrificed so much time on your dates, just talking to me, talking through things, and some of the best realizations I've had were with you two. So I'm really thankful for you guys.
Elle, you are a joy. I am so grateful as Raph's best friend that you've come into his life. Since the time I've met you, you have this unique gift to just make people feel comfortable. People feel loved by you. You're funny, and you just know how to have a good time. Both of you guys.
I was ain't no wifey for a long time and never had dreams to get married until I met you. Raph, I promise to make you laugh for the rest of our lives, to keep it light when you are dark and stormy. I promise to be a shelter of comfort for you, and I promise to have cute, dark and stormy babies with you.
I love that from the moment we met, you never judged me for my past, and you accepted me for who I was. But what's so cool is it's not just towards me, but it's woven into the fabric of who you are. It's one of my favorite qualities about you. Ellen, I love your perseverance, the ways that you have endured and persevered in some of the hardest times in your life. Times when most people in this room and across the world would probably choose to give up. It's constantly challenged me, encouraged me, and just reminded me that I want to spend my life with you. I promise to never let myself forget that God chose you to be my daily reminder of how much He loves me and how much His grace has changed my life.
To Raph and Elle, to the good times you guys will have, and the love you will share.